Hi guys, Going Green Mom here with another Foodie Friday. I'm not really sure what to call this one. It would probably be most akin to what we grew up calling Skillet Supper. I think that's a Midwest thing, but basically you throw a bunch of stuff that sounds good together in a pan and see what comes out. I was sort of aiming for a hash, but decided partway through this not to switch out to the induction cooktop and a pan for this, so it didn't really cook like a hash either. So anyway, I am starting with 2 sweet potatoes, one larger than the other. Not terribly important, but it did affect the cooking, so I just used my Instant Pot cheat sheet and cooked these for 12 minutes. It said to cook whole ones for 12 to 15. And if you were cooking them as a single cooking step, 12 would have been perfect for the small one and probably 14 or 15 for the larger one. As it turned out, for my application, I probably should have gone a little bit shorter time frame, but it is what it is. As it turned out, the one that was more cooked sort of disintegrated and helped add to, not really a sauce, but it kind of held it together meal-wise. So I just put those in for 12 minutes on high pressure, and then I'm going to also use the Instant Pot to cook my beef. By this point, it's been sitting out for about half an hour, but definitely not thawed as it was in my deep freeze. And I am not going to actually change out the water. The sweet potatoes had obviously left some bits and pieces in the water, but there was plenty of water there to pressurize again, and I figured why waste those nutrients. So I'm just popping in the beef, and then I'm going to season it like you might season sausage. So I'm adding some oregano. I'll add some garlic here in a second. There you can see that I am modding while I cook. I was watching Land Cloud Adventures at this point. If you haven't checked him out, he goes live on Thursdays at 10:50 p.m. Eastern, and we always have a ton of fun over there. So I've added oregano, garlic. I'm adding some thyme. I totally could have added some sage or rosemary. I actually wound up adding dill. I've been on a bit of a dill kick lately. So, and I am reusing jars at this point. So as you can see, that was not what came in it. Oh, and then I added some Italian seasoning as well. And I typically just sort of cook by smell, I guess you could say. So that's why I ducked in to smell how all of those were coming together and what it was missing. And then I popped the lid on and pressurized for 35 minutes on high pressure. Now, while that's cooking, I am going to cut up some onion. This was a partial onion I had used, I had used the other part for lunch. And I'm just going to cut this up for when we are ready. And then I'm also going to cut up the sweet potatoes instead of leaving them whole. The larger one I will cut both in half long ways as well as cutting it into slices. But the smaller one, the slices were actually pretty small. So just cut those into like medallions. And I am using another bag of the okra that was pulled out of my freezer, needing used. I think I'm down to a whole lot of Brussels sprouts in there to use up. If you have a good use for frozen Brussels sprouts, please let me know. Now, most of the time when I have cooked ground beef from frozen, as I mentioned before, it in a different video, it does come out. It doesn't change shape. It just stays in that sort of loaf shape. But for whatever reason, this time a lot of the inside was still pink instead of being browned all the way through. It would have been up to temperature if I had checked it. I mean, it was acting cooked and everything. It had just stayed red. So I will be adding stuff to this pot, and I just turned it on Saute, so it will finish browning as we go. Now, if you've never cooked with okra before, it does, in addition to the blood sugar regulating type properties, it does actually thicken things as well. It has just like a mucinogenic quality that it will, I don't know, it thickens things. It can kind of be a bit snotty at times, but overall it actually wound up making sort of a good sauce type quality with the sweet potato that was cooked more. So, and the seasoned liquid from cooking the meat as well. Now, I was going to say that I bought the sweet potatoes because I'm working on this class and trying to learn what carbs are good for my body by testing my blood sugar after eating various meals and individual ingredients. So I will have to buy more sweet potatoes to test that because of adding the okra here. But I will get there eventually. Now, I mentioned I was modding for Nate earlier. He went off, and so I am just catching my watch later list. And this is Tracy Edwards. If you haven't checked her out, she is an awesome personal finance channel out of Australia. I'll link her in the description too. But yeah, fairly simple to come together, probably one of the longer cook times. Supper's ready.